everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, October 29th, 2020. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you had a wonderful day. Glad you're here with me today. Andrew's got the day off and tomorrow off as he celebrates his anniversary week. And so, well, you got me. I'm sorry. But we're going to get through it together. And we have a very fun show for you today. We'll get to the headlines in just a minute. But today we have a two-part series with the Fitchburg Historical Society. They're taking on interviewing people and documenting what's been happening during the COVID-19 pandemic. And to kick things off today, I'm going to reverse the role. And in fact, Catherine from the Fitchburg Historical Society is going to interview me to talk about what's been going on at Fact TV and overall at the city of Fitchburg here during the pandemic. So looking forward to switching roles with her today. We'll start that again for our guest and digest today. So very excited to share that with you. But before we do that, let's get into your headlines for today. And we start with road closures, McKee Road and Seminole Highway closures. A lot happening here. On Friday, October 30th through Monday, November 2nd, parts of McKee Road and Seminole Highway will be closed for asphalt paving. And we want to make sure that you can see, you see here on the image that it's all of what has been going on here as they work on getting the final layers on there for paving. Excuse me. So Friday, October 30th, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., westbound McKee Road will be closed from Pomerous Park Drive to Playcon Drive. This is the entrance to Happy Dogs and Farrell's Body Shaping as well. The westbound McKee detour is Spoke Drive to Sprocket Drive, West Frontage Road, Williamsburg Way, Anton Drive, and Fitch-Rona Road. On Saturday, October 31st, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., McKee at Seminole Highway intersection will be closed. Seminole will be closed from Executive Drive to Quarks Drive to McKee, closed from Seminole Highway to Woods Edge Way, and then the McKee Road detour is Commerce Park to Sub-Zero Parkway to Seminole Highway to Lacey Road, Fishattree Road. Seminole Highway detour is Sub-Zero to Commerce Park Drive, McKee Road, then to Verona Road, U.S. Highway 151. The westbound Beltline Frontage Road, Monday, November 2nd from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Will be closed as they work on paving the eastbound McKee Road. They'll be closed again from Commerce Park to Drive to Seminole Highway. Eastbound McKee Road detours Commerce Park Drive to Sub-Zero Parkway and Seminole Highway. And again, you can check all of this out online at fitchburgwi.gov. All right, in-person absentee voting hours. Well, you basically got 1 day left to do your in-person absentee voting, and that happens, well, tonight you had till 7, but tomorrow, Friday, October 30th, you have 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to come out for in-person absentee voting. That's at our community center in the old call room, 5510 Lacey Road. Come on out. Please make sure to bring a photo ID, and you may bring your own black ballpoint pen to mark your ballot. We do request that you wear a mask. All right, healthy habits at polling locations. CDC wants to remind you to take it safe when you come out and vote on next Tuesday or even in this absentee period. Your voting jurisdiction may offer alternatives to in-person voting for people at high risk of severe illness from COVID-19. You can learn more ways here to take steps, but simple ones here is definitely the social distancing, wear a mask, and give plenty of distance between the poll workers as they'll do their best to keep everything clean for you on election day, and so far I've done a great job here during the in-person absentee voting. All right, finally, I want to talk to you about the future of connected devices and secure data in Wisconsin. Yeah, this is a very interesting stuff here. So as October's Cybersecurity Month comes to a close, we spend the final weeks looking towards the future of connected devices and secure data. At this time last year, the Department of Ag Trade Consumer Protection, DATCP, announced the formation of the Data Privacy and Security Advisory Committee. We actually talked with Laura Sutherland about this. You can check that interview out on our Facebook page, YouTube page, under the leadership of Governor Tony Evers and the DATCP Secretary-Designee Randy and Romatsky, I believe it is, a coalition of 25 members from all sectors of the industry, governmental agencies, and consumer advocates joined together to evaluate how Wisconsin could effectively keep consumer data secure in our ever-changing technology economy. Over a 9-month period, the committee heard from subject matter experts who presented the impacts and growing of the multi-billion-dollar data storage industry, as well as the data that is stored and shared. Bottom line is they kind of came up with a plan to present, and that is out there for your viewing. If you want to check it out, you can head to the website datcp.wi.gov for more information. All right, that does it for my headlines. Coming up next, we check in with the Fitchburg Historical Society as they start to document the COVID-19 pandemic. Break it all down for you next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
We're exercising at the Fitchburg Senior Center. We do aerobics, balance, strength training, posture. We want you to stay healthy and strong and exercise. Keep on being fit.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the Fitchburg Historical Society, you've got Catherine Schneider. Catherine, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing great, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Today we're going to do something that has never been done on this show. I am going to turn things over to you, and you're going to interview me, which you're like, oh gosh, what does this guy have to say? But yeah, tell us what you have in mind.
Well, thank you, Jeremy, so much. The intention of asking you to be interviewed was, as the State Historical Society has done, Wisconsin State Historical Society has indicated that with the pandemic, it is good to be saving the stories of what's been going on in our areas due to the pandemic. How has that changed life? What has it been for our people and our institutions? And so starting with you, Jeremy, and Fact TV, how that has impacted your lives, the way you've done your work. So how has that been for you folks walking through this pandemic? And then hopefully this will be the first of a number of interviews that we'll be able to do partnered with Fact TV and Talking Fitchburg's people and institutions, and how we work and do government, operate our businesses now, and live our lives, to just delve into that more deeply. So these are historic times, and I think we feel called upon as the Fitchburg Historical Society to document for future generations how COVID has transformed our lives and how we're responding to its challenges. So Jeremy, back in March, when we began to shut down across Wisconsin and truly the whole nation, shutting down due to COVID, how were Fact TV's day-to-day operations of providing local news at Fitchburg impacted for you?
Yeah, it was interesting. I'll give you that. The whole thing has been very interesting, and we're lucky. We're lucky because the way we run our operation, we quickly realized that going into that weekend, so the weekend that we knew the governor was making an announcement, to potentially close things down, pull things back a little bit. Our staff and I, kind of developed emergency broadcast operation going into that weekend. Our main things, for people who may not know, never seen the show, in Fact TV is our local community media station here in Fitchburg, and we provide city government coverage of government meetings. So we cover all the meetings, broadcast them online, make available for residents. And then we have Talking Fitchburg, our daily newscast, which kind of highlights what's happening in our community, keeping up to date with the latest news on a daily basis. And because we had that in place, we kind of just pulled back on what we were doing with Talking Fitchburg. We stopped the show Talking Fitchburg, but we were also doing news updates every day, twice a day. And we decided, well, we can do one news update a day, put out the information as it was coming in. We asked all of our guests to say, we're putting you on hold for a little bit as we work through the challenges of moving out. But in that next week, things changed dramatically in our department and helping others, certainly.
Yes, and I know you mentioned for the government in terms of recording all the meetings and things that were going on in terms of government and how you assisted in that area. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was determined by the administration and the mayor that City Hall would be closed eventually, and that all of non-essential meetings would be stopped at that point. So, I mean, we cover every meeting, committee, you name it. It's covered by Fact TV. And so slowing that operation down first to next to nothing. So only real important items that had to get done, would come together for a meeting and trying to figure out the limitations of having people come in. So what's been nice is the past city councils, the mayors, administration, everything has really been a partner with Fact TV all these years. So in the last 10 years I've been here, we've been providing, the best help we can in a lot of different areas, but government meetings has been our number one priority. And so we were already established in the live streaming realm. We broadcast out on a lot of different places. One of my goals is to be, everywhere that you can get a signal, whether it's online, cable TV, wherever that is. We wanted to be there, and we actually started live streaming in 2010. And a lot of people don't know that we had been doing it for so long. So to a lot of governments weren't even broadcasting any meetings, right? And you hear the term Zoom or whatever live streaming platform that you have out there. Clearly, Zoom took a hold really fast, and Zoom allows people to come together, chat in real time, and you can stream that at the same time. Well, we were already streaming our meetings, so our only issue was how do we bring all these people together and then funnel it through our system out to the residents. So that was the goal for the first month, is investigating all of these in a very, and I shouldn't even say month, I mean, in a very limited amount of weeks. My staff was right there testing all these different streaming platforms, and at the same time we're having internal meetings. We have staff meetings internally. That's where we were testing a lot of these things for all the staff. And really becoming that point of contact for, all right, we got to do a meeting. We're going to have Fact TV in it, whether it's broadcasted live or bringing these people in. That was the job. And then just keep evaluating that as well. We hit the 6-month point, and Scott, our assistant manager in Fact TV, did a write-up, sent it out to staff and the council to give them an idea of like, well, here's been the last 6 months of, here's the best practices, and try to be, best audio, best video, best, as we all dive into this and learn, but definitely has changed the world as we know it for meetings. And I suspect, and we're preparing ourselves for a long haul of having to bring people in remotely to future meetings.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you were really well positioned to handle this change in terms of the technology that you had available and were already using with live streaming and Zoom. Perhaps even more teaching others on the city staff how to use it, how to make use of it, and become comfortable with it. How did your staff on Fact TV need to change the way you maybe thought about technical aspects? Were there any real challenges there, and how you had to adapt? Anything else that you want to share about that?
Yeah, in fact, Andrew, who's monitoring this right now, I mean, he's really been our guru in the Zoom platform, if you will. Scott has always been in charge of dealing with the meetings at night, and it actually takes 2 staff people right now. We normally do our meetings with 1 staff person, and that's running the video, audio, streaming, all of it. It all is done with 1 person. With this, we need somebody to interact in the Zoom side of things, plus still do our normal job of covering the meeting. So it's been quite the turn for us. And that too, in the beginning, we put all of our resources into making sure that the Zoom worked well. So we have 5 total staff in our department, 3 full-time, 2 part-time. And when meetings weren't on, we were making sure behind the scenes that we were doing anything and everything to make sure that city meetings would go on as planned. We also had to move the the technology for us is all in the council chambers. So if you haven't noticed in the last 6 months, almost all of our meetings now are done through the council chambers, and there's a reason for that. That's from behind the scenes standpoint, we have the most technology invested into that space. Also, it's a big space to social distance. So it turned out that our council chambers became this like one-stop shop for all meetings, but that changes for staff who are used to doing meetings on a, let's say a Monday night at 5 p.m., 5:30, you got Public Works, and then you got RCC following that. Staff had to make adjustments, not just in our department, but in all departments to meet that need of, well, we've got the one space. We want to make sure people can still come in. They have a right to come in, be part of the meeting in person. But when they're there, they got to social distance. We got to make sure that they're safe, do all of we can. And then again, on the technology side, we've got to make sure we're bringing in everybody who can be in the meeting, plus, provide that access, as it were, out there. And like I said, it's awesome that we had the investment of all these years with the past councils to invest in Fact TV the way they have. It really paid off, like you said, here in the last 6 months. We were really able to make it look seamless, we think, but still make it work in each and every day. And it's still a big task. I mean, that's, it's not normal operations for Fact TV. We still do our newscast every day. We do our Talking Fitchburg, and we do an update for the whole day. But it's still a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure all the staff meetings, all the meetings that are on TV, all the committees, they're working with us to make sure we get the invites out to the people who are going to come in via Zoom, who's going to be in person, who's going to be at setting up the room, if there's any changes to the spaces. So it's what was a simple meeting of it's an agenda's out, we're going to have a meeting, show up if you want, or watch it on Fact TV is now a process, if you will, but a seamless process as we've continued to move through all this.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill, bring good home.
Well, you've helped, you've certainly been a major player in making the city government continue to work effectively for the citizens of Fitchburg, as well as maintaining that open democracy of people being able to come to meetings and being able to express their opinions. So kudos to you and your staff for all the extra work you put in on making that possible for the residents of Fitchburg, for the citizens of Fitchburg. So I'd like to ask, just to kind of maybe take the broader view now, to step back a little bit from the technical details. What new learnings or insights do you think you have after living through these months of pandemic regarding the delivery of local news? Anything you've learned from this experience, or new thoughts about the news?
So I'm I don't want to use the word junkie, but I'm a news junkie. I do truly love news, love local news, and I can tell you, before we ever started Talking Fitchburg, I was attending a conference in person. We used to do that, remember? Way back when, right? Attending a conference, and I remember at this big keynote deal, they had a bunch of people come in, and somebody said local news is where it's at for community media. And the group that was meeting was media stations like ours from all across the United States. And this person is standing up there saying, we need more local news, hyper local news is where it's at. And I remember being struck by that, wow, that's so powerful. And we're lucky enough that myself and Andrew both have worked in the local news business in this market. So we had some ideas and insight behind there, but we also, it was the staff. I mean, my staff are second to none. That pulled it together to be able to pull in a newscast to set ourselves up to where we are today. So saying all of that and putting that all into motion, the news gathering and the information we want to get out, it's critical to get out the facts, the right the direct information and where it's coming from. And something that we believe in as a staff together is where we find the news sources and stuff, we want people to be actually able to find that. So anything that we report on during Talking Fitchburg, when we post our headlines out, which we do every day, we post them up on Facebook and YouTube. We actually share a link to every single story where I found it. And that way people can go back and look at that story for their own liking. So, you know, in the news business, you're basically given the short amount of time to, you know, fill you up with as much news as possible, right? And so sometimes we don't get to read everything that we want to. Our show's a little bit more laid back. That's our goal. Is it wasn't to be one person sitting behind a news desk. You'll notice that if you ever watched Talking Fitchburg before before I was sitting at my house doing this, you know, it's a round desk. It's inviting. It's more interview set style. We had microphones that are look like a podcast type mech. We wanted it to be different, but still get the information out there. So it looks like a news show, it acts like a news show, but it's still, to us, a laid back format. And so the news that we're putting out for the residents, you know, we really rely on finding it, you know, from our health officials, especially during COVID, you know, looking at CDC all the way down to Dane County Public Health. You know, we're trying to find all of the information and put it out there. There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. You know, I think we've changed graphics repeatedly on our media channel with up-to-date information. That's our community bulletin board channel, and trying to keep up with all the changes and mandates and what's going on. But because we have this format in the daily newscasts, we're lucky enough that we can get on every day and give out, you know, the latest information that we can at that time. So it's been interesting. There's a lot of stuff. You know, there's a lot of noise from the federal government all the way down on what's going on out there. You know, our goal is, well, what's happening at City Hall? Is there anything we need to get out from City Hall out to the residents? And then for me and for TF, or Talking Fitchburg, TF, I really believe in safety. And if you've watched the show enough, you know that I love safety and getting safety tips out there. So that format was already there before COVID. So it was an easy thing. We know where the material is. We know how to get it out there and share it. And we follow a lot of different direct source news links. So again, we go right to the source when we're trying to find out information that we're putting out there. So I think that's really important in this day and age when it comes to news. You know, we want to make sure that people know where we're finding it, how you can get access to it, and it's not just me telling you what's going on in a short amount of time. So it's a long-winded answer there, but kind of give you a look behind the scenes of how we gather that stuff every single day.
Well, it's that trust and respect that you have on the local level that's so important, and that you do that in a very conscientious way that you're obviously very passionate about and care very deeply about, Jeremy. May I ask one more question, which is maybe if there's any particular story to share that stands out due to the pandemic, you know, that you think is important for the Fitchburg community to hear. Anything that's happened with you in particular, with Talking Fitchburg, with Fact TV, any story that you can think of that you'd like?
Well, you know, I don't know that there's been a favorite moment. You know,
Or a difficult one,
you know what's
or
been unique, you know, I would say, look where I'm sitting right now and doing the news. And look where we're finding and talking to people. We're talking, you know, we've had some of our similar guests continue to come on, yourself and others, and you know, even during a pandemic. And I think that's something that really, for me, is very powerful. Is we are really lucky that during a pandemic we're still able to operate and continue to do the things that we can do. You know, from my standpoint and for my staff. That we can continue to work from home and make this operation go. When you consider that we were all coming into the office, all coming together, doing our work, you know, making it happen, and then have to walk away and turn everything back on from all these different parts of home, you know, I think that's impressive. Andrew and I have spent so much time together physically apart, but I feel like I still know him every day because we've talked so much. But to operate a show, I mean, he's literally directing the show right now from his house. He's sitting in front of a digital switcher, and he's switching between us, and he's actually doing the show like he would be if we were sitting together in the office. And I think that's amazing. And I think I've heard this from many people. And, what if this pandemic hit 10 years ago, or, even 5 years ago? The way we are with technology today, we are so lucky that we have access to that, because that played a huge role in keeping what could still be open today, for work and play and everything else. So I think if I was going to pick one thing, it's the technology has been just amazing that it's there. It came to bad, and in most cases, at least for us, it's worked out very well.
Great. Well, Jeremy, I'd just like to say, on behalf of the Fitchburg community, just thank you for all your efforts and your staff's efforts to bring the latest news every day to the residents of Fitchburg. And thanks for letting us come behind the cameras a little bit with you to see how things work behind the scenes, and especially that power of technology that you just mentioned. That's just made things happen, and almost seamlessly from your viewers' point of view. Our intention now is to post Jeremy's interview and other interviews we have in the future regarding the pandemic and how it's impacted Fitchburg residents on our Fitchburg website, which is fitchburghistory.org, for all to enjoy and learn from, both now and into the future. So Jeremy, thank you for being our first interview. It's been a pleasure to turn the tables and be on the other side of the interview table, and just very much appreciate that today.
No problem. Thanks for the time. And I do want to quickly just thank again, my staff are second to none, Catherine, and they're the ones that have put in the work day in and day out. All of us in some fashion has continued to come in every week since March to continue the operations. And I cannot thank them enough, truly. And all the staff at the city of Fitchburg has been amazing through this. It's really shown just how tight a family can be, especially during these tough times. So yeah, just a shout out to all of the staff. It's amazing team to be with.
Great. Nice opportunity to be able to acknowledge that too, Jeremy. Well, thank you for today. Thank you for today.
And thank you. It's fun to be on the other side, I guess, for a little while. It's still a little strange, but no, I appreciate it. And I'll jump in and say, Catherine, thank you again for doing this. I think it's going to be neat to learn all the different stories of what's happened, and glad it is being documented. I think that's super important. And we'll get this posted up on our site as well. I got to plug it, fitchburgwi.gov. In fact, TV will have it for you as well. And Catherine, we look forward to checking back in with you next month.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, thank you. That's Catherine. She's going to take my job. I can see it now. She can deliver the news every day better than I can. I know it for a fact. And we'll talk to her off air and see if we can get her to do that. We'll take a quick break. More to come. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.
Some chores you dread. You do them, but that doesn't mean you're happy about it. Then there's registering with the Selective Service. If you're a young man turning 18, the law says you have to register. It'll keep you eligible for college loans, government jobs, and training, and it only takes 2 minutes, which makes it not only your most important chore, but the easiest. When you turn 18, register at sss.gov or the local post office.
All right, there you have it. Wrapping up the show for the day. I want to thank Catherine Schneider from the Fitchburg Historical Society. It's kind of fun to change roles there and talk about, again, COVID-19. She'll be doing this, continuing on, talking to different department heads and businesses and citizens across Fitchburg, and we're looking forward to sharing that story. As we wrap up here, remember to stay connected with Fact TV.